Welcome to Under the Rug at Work, where I shine light on problems that are normally swept under the rug. Today, I'm chatting with Michelle about culture is the strategy. Michelle is a speaker, author, and the founder of Being More Human, which is a business focused on increasing humanity in the workplace. Thanks so much for joining me, Michelle.
Pleasure, Nicole. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Now, what does it mean, culture is the strategy?
We very intentionally worded it that way. There's a lot of different components to organizational strategy, and usually people have their separate streams, and they'll have a piece on HR, a piece on technology, a piece on business or finance. They'll have all of their strategy divided out into the key strategic objectives. But when you understand what culture really is, which I think the best way of understanding culture is that it's like an umbrella across the rest of your business. So hence the title, Culture is the Strategy, because when you pay a lot of attention to your culture and developing a constructive culture and embedding that in your organization, the majority of those other business measures that normally appear in your strategy pretty much take care of themselves. When you focus on culture, the same can't be said in reverse of any of those other elements. Because you could have a financially successful business that has a terrible culture. You could have a business that's great at marketing but has a terrible culture. So you can't say it the other way around, but you can say that culture really does take care of a lot of the other functional components of the business. Hence, culture is the strategy.
Yeah. And I love that, because if you have a crappy culture, often the other things are quite difficult. So you're always, pushing things uphill. But as you said, if you've got a good culture and a collaborative culture, constructive culture, then the other pieces fall into place. So yeah, I've not heard it spoken like this before, but when I saw the summit when I saw Culture is the Strategy and you are hosting a summit, on the same, it just clicked and went, oh, of course it is.
Yeah, you don't hear a lot of people saying it or talking about it that way, but you do hear the saying, the culture eats the strategy for breakfast, that kind of saying. So we were sort of playing off that a little bit when we came up with the pitch for the summit.
Yeah. And in the summit, you're supporting leaders with some of those challenges that they're facing in a post-COVID world. What are some of the things that you're seeing in your consultancy?
Seeing a lot of people investing in leaders, which is a great step in the right direction, and actually putting their money where their mouth is and recognizing that leadership is an ongoing development stream. It's not something that you're a leader for 5 years and then you tick it all off and say, right, I've done leadership development. You can be a leader for 20 years and you can still learn more and develop more as a leader. So that the ongoing nature of it is one of the elements. There's a lot of the constant change and challenges with AI and challenges, other sort of technological challenges in the workplace that leaders are facing. And then obviously the big one is around flexible working and what works best for your organization. Do you want people in-house, working from home, a blend of the two? And there's honestly something to be said for all of those different elements to it. There's not one way to look at that one, but that's definitely something that leaders are also being challenged by.
And that's been in the news actually quite frequently since we've come out of this post-COVID world, because people don't really know where to land. So we are seeing the challenges of, some people wanting to force people to come back into the office 100% of the time, or is it 50%, or, what's the benefit? Where is it necessary? So yeah, leaders are really trying to figure out how it works. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, well, and I think it's got a lot to do with how leaders treat other people in their business, because if you are actually treating everyone as equals, then really you should be holding people accountable for outcomes, and you shouldn't care if the person's on the moon or another planet when they actually do the work, because it's not relevant to you. What's relevant is they've delivered the outcome that you've agreed upon. So if you manage by outcomes and agree to a certain set of outcomes that need to be delivered, that's the key. The rest of it shouldn't matter. But the rest of it does matter when you treat employees more like children and you don't think that they're empowered enough to know how they work best, where they work best, when they work best, with who they work best. And you take all of that away from them and you make those decisions on their behalf. And that's a very paternalistic way of looking at it.
And often means that the culture's not great. Because if you're treating people that way, you don't have a culture.
Yeah, it means there's a lot of low trust and suspicion in the culture.
Yeah. And what I love about your organization is it's about being more human. It's bringing that humanity back into it. And you talk a lot about a conscious human leadership. What does that mean to be a conscious human leader?
I think, it can mean a lot of different things, but the easiest way to think about it is that you have a constant and an intentional desire to become more aware as a human being. The more aware you become as a human being, then the more conscious you become, both yourself and the more conscious you become of people's behaviors and effectiveness around you. So it really is that focus on you as a leader and the impact that you're having and the self-awareness that you've got.
And what's one thing that leaders listening to this today could do to be more conscious?
Stop. So I just see leaders running around everywhere saying how busy they are, almost like a badge of honor. I'm busier than you know, I'm busier than you know, our industry is busier than anyone else's industry. Like, it's not a busy competition.
Yeah.
And the more disciplined that we are to be able to stop and reflect and create active opportunities in our life to look at things differently, the more conscious we'll become.
Yeah, and you're not listening when you're that busy. You're not taking things in. I remember, working in organizations where you didn't have time to go to the bathroom, which is just ridiculous. And you can't be effective at that level for very long at all. So I love that advice. And it even made me feel quite great just to stop for a second here. So can you share with us a little bit about the summit? It's happening in July and 28th of next month. Can you share maybe some of the benefits for leaders to attend?
Yeah, sure. One of the things we're most proud about is that it's full of local leaders from the Hunter, Newcastle, Central Coast regions. And there's some great things happening in leadership in and around those areas. And there's some really fantastic cultures that are being created. So we're getting to see some of those and hear some of those firsthand. I think the other thing that's really exciting is most of the speakers don't do the speaker circuit.
Yeah.
So they're not the normal sort of speakers that you're going to hear at every networking session that you go to or every event that you go to. They're actual CEOs, that spend time managing and leading their organizations. So what you get to hear from them is their real life stories of everyday challenges, what's worked in their leadership and culture journey, what hasn't worked, why they embarked upon it in the first place, what were the levers that created the need for them to do it, and also what kind of outcomes have they got so far from the journey and the process, and then what's next. So you hear sort of a 360-degree view of someone's real life personal story, and I think that's invaluable.
I'm really looking forward to attending. And I believe you may have sold out, but do you have any tickets left?
Yeah, we did sell out. So we got a second room. So we're releasing another 30 tickets, I think it is. So we expect that they will easily sell out by the time the conference comes around.
Fantastic. And I'll make sure I include a link in the show notes as well, so people can jump on that. It is face-to-face too, which is wonderful. And networking, with local businesses, I think it's such a great opportunity for people to get together and understand that culture is the strategy and, network with people who are actually doing it, but aren't on the speaker circuit. So I think that's really great.
I think the other thing, the last hour of the session, we are launching a new business initiative that is a surprise that we're not telling people too much about. So that will also be very exciting and different. And it will be a challenge for every organization sitting in the room. So very much looking forward to that element of it as well.
Yeah, I can't wait. I love surprises. Well, thank you so much for your time, Michelle. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome, Nick, and looking forward to seeing you there.
Yes, and I just want to, before we close off, I want to let people know if they want to find out more about you, to connect with you on LinkedIn, or visit beingmorehuman.com.au.
Fantastic. And you can go to that same link for the tickets for the summit as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks, Nick.